Hey guys, how are we doing? We okay? Good, amazing. Right, so today I have half an hour, right? And I've been doing this a long time, as some of you are fully aware. We actually ran the numbers a couple of weeks back. I'm now at the point now where I'm a few hundred hours away from about a 10,000th hour of delivering Halo content, and I've worked with just over 3,000 MSPs out of the 7,000 that are now using us, which is pretty crazy, right? But I guess we're in this room together, right? Some of you are large, some of you are small. Some of you, who's heard of Halo? Now I guess a lot of you have. Better question.
Best game ever.
Yeah. I guess, who is using Halo? Take a second, look around. You've got fellow Halo people you can quiz to hell. Others you can ask them. Thank you. You're now my referrals. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So I do about 30 to 50 consultancy engagements a year. And I was like, let's do this presentation together. I want to show you some cool stuff, and I'll make you a deal, okay? Some of this content is aimed for people who don't know who the hell I am, what Halo is, think it's a game, me included. I'm not the Master Chief. And some of this is for people who've been using Halo for a few years as well. And some of this I'm going to show you today, I've been cooking up over the last couple of months. I'm pretty technical. And I think this is the first time, CRN, that someone's seeing this outside of Halo for the first time. All right? Some of it is industry first stuff. And I'm really interested in your feedback, right? Tell me, am I wasting my time? Am I barking up the wrong tree? And we can get into this. So for the people in the room who wondering who this English ginger man is on a stage talking at me, so I'm Tim, right? I'm one of the two Tims, is the story, that started Halo PSA, the sort of MSP offering underneath the sort of Halo brand about a decade ago now. The fun story is that we were in a 10 by 10 converted pub office. I put up the website, the other Tim created the first trial, and off we went, right? And here we are a decade later, doubling every year, and there's now about 7,000 MSPs using us as we speak, which is super cool. Just for wider context as well, right? Halo makes and sells one product. It's entirely privately owned. And it is also in the sort of ITSM space, right? We're a full alternative to sort of connect to Autotask. And if you get a couple of spicy margaritas into me and ask me, Tim, who's your biggest competitor? I'll probably tell you ServiceNow, very deep service engine. It does full enterprise service management. And because of that, we have some very jazzy teams that are using us today. My personal favorite is Domino's Pizza. In the UK, it's a delicacy. Over here, it's not. So, but it's some very serious organizations on there. Like, Red Bull joined us last year. 2,500 staff moved out of ServiceNow into Halo, just to give you a breadth of the engine, right? It's to paint that in your mind. We're a full alternative to the others in the space, but I think, as you get to know me, I'm pretty blunt and transparent, as I say, with my Irish blood after a few drinks. I'll pretty much just say it how it is. We'll do sort of like 95% of ITIL alignment of ServiceNow for about 20% of the cost in a low-code, no-code application to sort of position it for you, I guess. As of this year, there's some of the world's largest teams are using us, which is pretty cool. F12, Integris, Netco, Lyra, Red Helm, all these are sort of new in the last sort of 12 months. I actively track sort of the top 86 sort of platforms in the space, right? I see sort of half and half ConnectWise and ServiceNow. And in the last 12 months, sort of, we're seeing a very large adoption. I would probably say at this stage, we are the sort of gold standard offering in the space. Other stuff that's new that I wanted to sort of get into, one of the things that's pretty cool about being privately owned and our co-founder being the active CEO and very long-term thinking, as of this January, all the Halo customers in the room, your price went down, which is pretty wild if it was from list. So what's quite funny in the software space, right, is as you get bigger, your profit margins don't sort of follow that trend. They sort of plateau and it actually gets cheaper. So most vendors in the space, right, you'll see 10%, 20%, 50, 100% in some weird scenarios where your renewal price goes up. Halo basically just reduced our price by 5%, and as our revenue grows, that's our revenue currently at Halo, your price is going down. Well, I think it's pretty cool. So that's 25% over the next sort of 10 years, which is pretty wild. So your product, basically we just said, which I think is the coolest bit, which is a thing that CRN did an article on with our founder, Paul, is for the next 10 years, you won't get a product price increase outside of inflation, but actually it will decrease by 25% over the next 10 years, which is pretty crazy. So that was a cool thing that we sort of announced this year. You're probably wondering why I'm wearing a blue soccer top, right? Like, what's he doing? There's a reason for this. You probably see me in a race suit talking about McLaren, driving cars, yada, 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 right? Yes, a lot of you probably see me do that. Last year, we moved out of that into sponsoring our local soccer team. And we went from on the sleeve of Ipswich Town, our local team, which Ed Sheeran also sponsors, where he was front of shirt, and we sort of exchanged positions. And that ended up us sort of crossing paths with Ed Sheeran, which is not on my bingo card for 2026. And we ended up having our founder, Paul, show off the new kit with Ed Sheeran. And on the sleeve, Ed is promoting his new hot sauce called Tingly Ted. It's a hot sauce made by a ginger man, so it's not very spicy, right? Just to be real with you. But I have smuggled about 30 cases through TSA, and that was a whole story on its own, to give away to you in the boardroom, so you can heckle me for some hot sauce and I will give you some. But there's a great video here with Paul and Ed interacting, which is pretty cool.
I think that's the key as well, like the actual shirt looks cool. But yeah, should we unveil it?
Let's have a look. Yeah, I didn't even know that we were going to see this.
Yeah, we're going to, this is the first time I've seen it as well. Look at this. There you go.
Very cool. Wow. Awesome. And we got the
Teddy Ted on the arm.
you know, keeping it in.
Yeah, so really weird. That was pretty wild though, right? You know, we've gone from bedroom startup, now we're collaborating with Ed Sheeran after F1. It was not on my bingo card, pretty cool. Something else to announce here as well, if you didn't know this already, right? Let's get into a bit of a more technical deep dive now that I've sort of covered a bit of groundwork for you. So as I say, this is going to be quite engaging. I want to know what you think and where you are. And as I say, as you see a QR code, scan it. And for the CEOs and business leaders in the room, right, you could just take these links, send them to your team, and your job is done. That's what I'd ask of you if you're a Halo customer. If you want to know more, you can dig into it, of course, but it's letting you know. So, right, getting into it. So, Halo hit the Gartner Magic Quadrant for our use case of AI in ITSM. Basically, using AI to deliver service, and we give it away for free, right? So if you have an ambition in 2026 to use a lot more AI to deliver service, Halo is well positioned. And I helped us get onto this quadrant, and I'm relatively pessimistic about AI, which I find quite funny. But we don't charge you extra. It's part of the platform. And you have it, it's in the system out of the box, which is pretty cool. So we're well positioned to talk about some of this subject. And what I wanted to do today, instead of me saying how great we are, whatever, I wanted to basically talk to a lot of the teams that I work with a lot. And I wanted to dig into what I think are the most operationally mature MSPs out there and what they're doing to really get some things moving in their business, right? We all in this room want to do more with less. We don't want to hire more. We want to make stuff happen, right? So what does this look like? What are cool things that you can do today that you haven't already, or that you could quite easily go home after this, research and implement, whether it be with Halo or not? I just want you guys to make it happen. So one of the first people I spoke to was this guy called Joe Burns. I'm not sure if anyone in the room knows Joe Burns. US audience, limited interaction. This guy's UK, so I don't blame you. If you want to connect with Joe for this next piece, you can. But what I would say is this guy has managed to fully automate inbound triage. So if you are using a dispatcher today to service inbound work that you get into your service desk, you can basically eradicate it with Halo, with this guy's automations. There are two methods. So how has he done it? How do we automate inbound ticket triage into our service desk? This is how you make it happen. So I've just literally this is me at 3 a.m. in JFK Airport. I was so excited, I started recording my screen about a month ago. But how this works is, here's Halo, by the way, if no one's seen it before, but here's the service desk. Opening up a ticket, you can see we have already out-of-the-box stuff, right? So we have a single application, a single backend SQL database. That is, Halo only makes and sells one product, and it's all in the system. A new ticket comes into the platform. We go through all the content in the subject and the body of the email, and then we'll go after your old ticket history, bring back the 5 most similar that hit a certain likeness, and make some nice suggestions. But the new one that we've added doesn't require old ticket history. So you could turn on Halo and basically start logging new tickets. It doesn't need previous ticket history to make it happen. So we're logging a brand new ticket here, as you can see. The summary is Law Fusion, which is a lawyer app. I'm trying to log into this app. It's not working. I have a deadline today, please. Please help. This could be delivered via phone call, email, chat, portal, smoke signal, whatever. The ticket's created. Top left is the subject. The content in the bottom is the sort of body of the email. And within about 10 seconds, right, it's going off to a model on its own, not looking at ticket history. It's asking an AI agent, does this feel like an incident? Does it feel like a request? Here's all of our categories. Which one feels most similar? And as you can see, it's auto-hydrated as sort of the ticket. So your tech picks up the ticket, and it's not just made suggestions, it's updated the actual content of the ticket itself. And that's mega, because that can, firstly, decide if it's billable or not. Also, on the back of this, you can use some ticket rules to auto-assign it to the correct team. And if you're really clever, and if you give me a 4-pack of Red Bull and 4 hours of you, you could basically hook up the calendars and also the skills matrix, the sort of the tech skills area, and we can work out who's qualified, who's available, and we can actually auto-push it into the person's correct queue. So you can actually, in Halo, use some AI to determine a service scenario, and then some basic automation to push it into the correct person's queue. And that's when they're available, not on holiday, not at 3 a.m. That's just something out of the box in Halo's trial. You can just go to the website and do that today. It's out of the box. It's, off the shelf. So that's number one. I spoke to a good chap called Jimmy Puckett from Spinnin, a great MSP based in Macon. Does anyone know Jimmy Puckett from Spinnin? Oh, we got some hands? Good. All right. So if you want to connect with Jimmy, he's a good guy. I've spoken to a lot of people, and I'd probably say he's in the top 5 AI voices that I know. If you don't know this guy, definitely say hello. He's definitely worth meeting and speaking to if you can. But this guy has done something pretty cool. So there's a lot of risk, right, for MSPs. When you're getting inbound service tickets, right, you might be concerned that you're going to do something that gets you in legal trouble, right? Or someone's saying who they're not to get something from you. Phishing attacks. It could be AI voice. It could be anything, right? In this sort of new sort of era, it's something that's of concern. So Jimmy has been able to use CIPP, C-I-P-P, and Halo in a basic automation to completely de-risk and eradicate any risk on the service desk that in a service scenario, for any tech, they can figure out the person they're speaking to is actually that person. So if it is a CEO trying to reset their passwords, you could do that with absolute ease. So let me run you through this. How's he done this? So here is a ticket in Halo. You can do this in any PSA, by the way, but you could do it in Halo like this. So basically, he's got a ticket here. This is Halo here. I'm locked out of my account. I need my password reset. He's going to email the user. He's going to be like, on the phone or on email, I'm going to send you an auth push, have your authenticator app ready. And at the top of the screen here, send MFA request. He's basically got a quick automation pushing out to SIP that will then push out to that person. So if they're on the phone and that's not who they are, you can't proceed further because they're not going to be able to authenticate. And you'll see at the top of the screen now, he's going to click this action. It's going to fire that request. And then off it goes there and then. That could be on the phone because Halo has call management built in. It could be via chat. It could be on, on email as you see it right now. And then they're basically going to auth it, and then it will basically update the ticket. And then you know exactly who you're talking to is the right person. So if you have got a CEO trying to reset their password, you know 100% that it's the person we are actually talking to. Now, it totally removes any scenario like that happening. So that's a simple automation, but one which is extremely handy. The next one. So this is one that I configured, actually, as a runbook with one of our head devs for an onboarding we were doing. All right, hands up. Is new starter request the biggest time suck in your service desk? I want hands in the air. Is it some of you? I've got some. Okay, good stuff. So we basically took a simple runbook script and pre-packed it into Halo's out-of-the-box trial now. And if you are a Halo customer, general advice, go and start a new trial of Halo from the website. The out-of-box config we update every now and then, and there's stuff you could just pull out of there, throw into a UAT, test it, and that's an easy way to get a lot of value or first-party config that we've done. We can't push config to your instances. That would be nuts. You have the latest version, but there's stuff like this, dashboards, scripts that you can take advantage of. So, new starter requests over here. So we're in Halo's customer portal. Generally, for me, one of the biggest areas that people are pushing a lot of their service today, right? So we have a service catalog. We can embed this in Microsoft Teams. We can use Azure single sign-on, and you can present, generally, right? You want to standardize your inbound requests. When you standardize your inbound requests, first you're advertising to your customer exactly what you offer, and it also makes them cheaper to support, as they're all standardized, but it also makes them easier to automate. All these fields are drag and drop, no coding. It's these fields down here that we care about. So your customer can say the new starter format of their email, first name, last name, whatever. You can hook up their CSP tenant into your Halo for Azure, and they can do a live lookup and choose which Azure group they want to add themselves into. And if they need to acquire a new license, that new license field will appear, and they can pick which license they want, right? You can probably guess where this is going. So when I click Submit, that is the end of the sort of customer experience. And then from there, we can dart across into the service desk as the tech. We can pick up that new request. I always suggest having, for best practice, having your inbound requests have an approval step, so you can add your layer of MSP value, right? It stops them cross-shopping against Amazon with you. Yeah, we say looks good, happy days. That will fire a script. So it will refresh. That's now running that script, those top two, those system bits there, right? That's going into Azure. It's adding them to the group. It's adding them to the security group and applying the license to that person, then telling Halo when it's done. In about 10 seconds, it comes back, it says it's good, and then I show you in Azure that it's working. So that's out of the box in Halo. It's just config. You can build on top of that if you have more intricate things you would like to do. And you can basically fully automate new starter requests in Halo for free. For a team that I put that in with, that's saving about 1,000 hours in a year. That's off the shelf. Go put it in. If you're a Halo customer and you haven't got this done today, there is your QR code. Please scan it. Send it to your team. Have them set up CSP. Go get the runbook out of our existing trial. And you can go and do that right now. Why are we wasting time on new starter requests? Here it is. Give it to your customers. It drives revenue, and it allows you to automate some of that load in your service desk. Right. Over here, right? Who's using Roost? Hands up. I want some hands. OK, we've got some hands. Right, we're using Roost. Cool. OK, so Roost are a good bunch. They're an automation platform. They have a nice UI. They actually use Halo internally to run their business as well, which is quite a nice little Easter egg if you didn't know that already. And we put together something called the Halo Pack. Pick up the phone to Roost. I want the Halo Pack. It's a selection of a few crates which are curated specifically for what Halo customers are using. This is them in their portal doing an offboarding request. There's an offboarding crate for Halo. You can hook it into Halo, run the script for your customer. There it is in Roost. That's what it looks like. And it takes about 2 minutes to run. And you can set that up tomorrow if you wanted to. It takes about an hour. And then essentially, you can automate offboarding for your leaver requests through the portal experience for your customers. And you can also trigger it through email as well. And here it's returning that it's successful. Check it out. And yeah, go and get that tomorrow. Super easy. If you haven't already, there's your QR code. If you're using Roost, if you want to do that, there you go. I'll give that a couple seconds for people who want to use Roost and Bolt in Halo to automate offboarding. Right, the next thing I'm going to show you is brand new. I don't think this has been seen before. So in the room, hands up, I want engagement. All right, we ready for this? Who knows what an MCP is? I want to know, hands up, we've got some. 10%, 20% of the audience? Okay. All right, MCP, it is pretty new. All it is it's essentially telling an AI agent that it's dealing with an application. It stands for, I think it's Model Context Protocol is what it stands for. All right, there is 2 reasons why you care. The first reason is a lot of your vendors, RMMs, Pax8, Disties, whatever else you might be using in your stack, will probably this year, or hopefully this year, will have an MCP. And what this is doing is you can basically have a terminal, like a ChatGPT experience, right? Or you can have it inside of Halo, and you can basically have an AI layer across your entire tech stack, and it connects all of your data together. So you can ask it a question, right? What are my assets that have the most issues against them? How is this going? And it will connect all the data together, and you can receive that in one space. That is the reason why you actually care, is number 1. The second reason is it gives your power users, basically, of your service desk a terminal to now do bulk actions across your tech stack, which is pretty crazy. So this is me being very excited at 3 a.m. and doing a layover in JFK Airport again, as you can see. And I get it working. I'm so excited I start recording my screen. So here is, we basically commandeered the internal sort of virtual agent, okay, the chatbot in Halo. And we've opened this up, and your service desk managers can log in, and they can be like, show me how my team performed this week. And then it knows who I am, knows who's on my team, knows what insights I want to see, and it can either create reports for you and render them in real time, or it can surface reports out of your reporting suite, right? And then from here, we can go further. We can be, because there's a lot of data and guff inside of your PSA, a lot of this you can do inside of here, right? So show me all my P1 tickets. Here's my P1 tickets. And then there are something called tools, functions. These are tools on the table the AI agent can use to, what you could do with media application to get the result you're trying to achieve, right? So it could be like add a note, create a ticket, fire a runbook, do an approval. It can be whatever, right? So I've gone here, show me all my P1 tickets. Great. Can you take these, can you add a note against each of those tickets to come and see me? Something like that. And then you'll see me type in some IDs, and then it will add those notes, and I'll go and search them and show that they're happening. But the stuff I'm working on right now today, and we got working last week, with our good partnerships at Enable N Central for that RMM and Ninja, is the next thing for me is you can have a scenario where you can be like, show me all of the assets, the top 20 assets that have the most tickets against them in the last 2 months. Great. Create a ticket for each one of those assets, and then go and run a script, a health check script or something, in an RMM, and take those reports and post them against those tickets. So you can now have a single terminal in Halo where you can now start doing bulk power actions through. And you can set up a single prompt, and you can have an MCP at Pax8, go and order me some licenses, and you can fire one prompt up, and all of your tools can now connect and interact to fulfill that requirement. This is the first time I'm showing it publicly. I would love to see. Can I get hands in the air if this is actually useful for you? Please tell me. Yep. I got some claps. Okay, good. All right, I'll take the claps. Good. Amazing. So I got this in the trial 2 weeks ago. And we also just got it documented yesterday, and this is the first time anyone will see this guide. So here is, if you are a Halo customer especially, how you set up your MCP server, okay? There's other guides on here as well, how to put it in the chatbot. If you are a Halo customer right now, this will put you in the top 10% of our customers if you go home and do this one thing, okay? So please do it. I'd love to see you. I'd love to interact with you. Come and talk to me about it. How are you finding it? Message me on LinkedIn, email me, call me, whatever. I'm really approachable. I'm always in contact with everyone. My number is 07908 400 903. Text me. Was I wrong? Was I right? Do you need a help? I'm always here to help. So just to summarize this, here is what we just discussed today. Automated MFA, automated triage, automated leave a request, new starters, and also MCP, just to summarize what we just covered. If you want to talk to me about any of these, in our boardrooms later this week, I'll be doing a lot of the boardrooms, ask me about it. What are you doing today? Are any of these gaps that you're trying to approach? Let's get into the weeds about it. If you're looking at Halo and you're like, this looks pretty good, we want to move, but it's too much of a lift. Just being very candid, right? Just being transparent. making the decision to upgrade to Halo is relatively easy. A lot of the conversation, most of the conversation, is about how we do an onboarding, right? So yesterday, I sat down for 5 hours and I created this document. This is a very simple summary of what an onboarding looks like. And what I've done is I've taken a real-life onboarding that I've done and I laid it out exactly how it transpired. So if you want to know how much does it cost, how long it will take, how much time will my service be disrupted, yada, yada, yada. I've put that in there, proposals that we typically do, and a real-life breakdown of how people arrange their teams and how typically an onboarding would go, right? And there's also a link in there to actually book a call with me if you wanted to, and we can actually get on a call for half an hour and talk about it if you want to grab me personally to talk about it. I'm happy to do that for everyone in the room. Also, I've been tortured many times to get on YouTube as Colonel Sanders of Halo, and there's my face, fake smiling. Look how happy I look. If you do want to, if you can withstand me for an hour and a half on YouTube videos, I've got 7 videos up, about 90 minutes, 2 hours of content. This is me giving you a full walkthrough, high level, of all the different parts of Halo. If you want to explore Halo further, send that to your team, take it away, and that will give you a good understanding of whether or not this is something or not that you'd like to do in your business, right? I'll leave that up for a second for anyone who wants to watch me blat on. Enjoy. And then I've got a bit QR crazy here, but if you are interested in grabbing a trial from our website to actually get control of a cursor, if you're a Halo customer and you want to get a trial to see the latest configs and you want to copy that, possible to do. There it is for you. And the very last one I'll say to you over here is I cook up a lot of crazy stuff. If you want to see me, if you like this content of me sharing with you my insights, what I'm seeing in the industry from working with so long and so many teams, do please follow me. I do appreciate it. Connect with me. If you want to message me, right now after this and be like, Tim, I want to know more about that. Or I want to, let's get on a call. Whatever it is, all right? Or you just want to follow me on my crazy little journey and watch me import a Firebird into the UK as I become a Floridian later this year. You can do that here. But I'll just say thank you for your time. I'll be in the back if you want to grab me afterwards. And thanks for being here. Thanks for having me.